Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be starting in approximately 3 minutes. Can't start until 6:30. Nobody that. Starting at 6:30. Now 6:30 and the Lebanon City Schools Board of Education monthly meeting has been called to order. First off, we're gonna start off, by repeating our mission statement that will be on the board. We can all read together.
Before we start reading, Ms. Gupton, do we have anyone else online?
Yes, Ms. Bowler.
Ms. Bold? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so we can start reading our mission statement together in unison. The mission statement of the world of mission to. The mission of the is to create and maintain a highly effective educational system in which every student receives the highest quality education. School employees and parents work together to prepare students to become caring, competent, and responsible citizens who value education as a lifelong process. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the agenda review and approval. Has everyone reviewed the agenda for tonight?
Yes.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I need to ask that.
You need to add something? Okay,
2 items, bonus for all employees, Christmas bonus or holiday bonus. I know that we're gonna bring that information back. Just to be anything,
Renee?
the date on the bonus for all employees.
Okay. Are you prepared for this?
Yeah, I can do that under the financial report.
And, okay, so we'll move that on number 4.
What about the bus driver? Move on, financial.
Yeah.
The bus driver, compensation.
Okay, and number 5, bus driver compensation, that will all go up under 7.4 and 7.5. And
Also, I know that we had said that big items, departments that have big like monies attached. We're supposed to get a report from, I don't see EC or CTE, and I know this is a big month for EC because we're preparing.
She's gonna present something to you.
Okay, so it's just gonna come under curriculum.
Yes.
Everything, thank you.
I don't know if Robin doesn't have anything to report.
anything else, Ms. Burbank?
No, that's it for me.
Anyone else need to add anything to the agenda?
No.
If not, can I get approval, a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I make motion to approve the agenda with the update. To include the updates.
Second. All right, it's been properly motioned by Ms. Burt Robinson and seconded by Ms. Donna Harrison to approve tonight's agenda with the updates. Are there any questions from anyone? If not, can I get the usual voting sign of aye? Ms. Jenkins? Okay, ayes have it. Aye, Tiffany Hale, ayes have it. So tonight's agenda has been approved with the updates. Next item on the agenda is, open session approval of minutes. Can I get a, motion to approve the minutes, open session?
I'll make a motion that we approve the open session minutes.
Right, been motioned by Ms. Donna Harrison and seconded by Ms. Eva Jenkins to approve of the minutes. Are there any questions from anyone? Not, can I get your usual voting sign of aye? Aye, Tiffany Hale also, so the open session minutes have been approved. Next item is recognitions and upcoming school events, new hires by Ms. Angela Lee Easter.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Welcome to another great opportunity. Wonderful thing. Welcome to everyone that is here tonight. I hope you and so much for being here and those online. We're gonna start off with Global Academy. Very good. Okay. Jury Rice has been selected as the student of the month from Mrs. Williams' second grade classroom. Jury is one of the hardest working students I've ever taught. She is working hard to master the English language, all while trying to learn math, social studies, science, and reading. Somehow she is managing to get along just fine. Jury has adapted well and made a lot of new friends despite coming from a very diverse cultural background and having language barriers. She has blended in with her peers so effectively that it feels like she has always been.
Thank you.
Put this behind the back. Yeah. Then you got all. Put this up here in the front yard. I know how great of a student that you are.
Thank you.
All right, Mom, turn the 50 around, Mom. Oh, let me go and get the note.
Number one. What if he had?
Oh, you was good, it's yours. There you go. Perfect. Awesome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And now, well, the middle school, we have Hayden Wong. Wong demonstrates outstanding character and responsibility. He is committed to doing what is right, avoiding conflicts and following expectations. He sets a positive example for everyone around him. His daily attendance and dedication to his studies shows his determination to succeed and grow. Keep up the amazing work. Truly embody what it means to be a role model.
Have you, why don't you just over here in front of the
Okay.
TV?
Awesome.
Okay, I'll stand up, so show over here. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Like right here, that way they can feel. There we go.
All right, Mom.
Let's do that thing anyway.
Weldonsville High School Career Academies, we have Mazaria McGee. Mazaria McGee is such a well-deserving student of this award. She is an outstanding ninth grade student. She is a hardworking student who gives her best efforts in completing assignments. To this date, she has perfect attendance and exhibits model behavior at all times. She is such a deserving student that we are glad to have her at Weldonsville High School Career Academy. Humboldt Valley Early College, Talasia Willis, 11th grade. She here tonight? She's not here tonight, but we still want to acknowledge her and give her a hand. Focused and motivated. She is always respectful and meticulous. Talasia always has a positive attitude and it is a joy to have in the classroom. She works hard consistently and is a model of a well-rounded and courteous student. All right. And now we'll do, our recognitions and acknowledgements of our employee of the month. We're gonna start with October, employee of the month, because she wasn't here on, in October, but we definitely want to recognize her. Mrs. Natisha Maryland, from Weldon High School, Weldon High School. Ms. Natisha is a joy. She enjoys the work that she does and is always looking for an opportunity to expand her knowledge. She is an essential part of Weldon High School.
That boy,
Our next acknowledgement is Weldon Elementary Global Academy Employee of the Month. This is Mrs. Latoya Edwards. Ms. Edwards is an essential part of Weldon Elementary Global Academy. She has been flexible as well as, extending herself and supporting our students and staff. She is glad to help and provide the necessary support. Weldon Elementary Global Academy is very proud of Mrs. Edwards and congratulate her on her much deserved recognition.
thank you, thanks here.
Oh, thank you. And our next acknowledgement is for the month of November, our parent acknowledgement, Ronald Valley Early College, Mrs. Chanel Epps. Ms. Epps is involved and supportive of academic goals at Ronald Valley Early College. She never hesitates. She reaches out with questions that she may have and is always pleasant and positive. And now our acknowledgement for our new hires. We're gonna call your name, please come up, please. We have Mrs. Tanisha Lee, Principal of Weldon Elementary Academy. Kathy Kidd, Chief Finance Officer, Weldon Central Office. Charisma Harrison, which is our health and PE teacher. She's also alumni of Weldon STEM High School Career Academy. School Council for Weldon Elementary Global Academy. Recognition and acknowledgement for our teachers of the year. We have Mrs. Gordon Elliott, Terry Gordon Elliott, which is our district teacher of the year, for Weldon Elementary Global Academy. We have Mr. Warner Raponte, teacher of the year for Weldon STEM High School Career Academy. We have Jennifer Friend, teacher of the year for Weldon Middle School. Cheryl Welch, teacher of the year for Ronald Valley Early College. Please give our teacher of the year. Recognition for Principal of the Year. Weldon City Schools is thrilled to announce that Mr. Brian Hopkins, Principal of Weldon High School Career Academy, has been named as the 2025 Wells Fargo Principal of the Year. This prestigious honor recognizes Mr. Hopkins' exceptional leadership and dedication to education excellence. And this was actually shown in the Ronald Valley Herald as a press release. Recognize and acknowledge outstanding elementary mathematics teacher, which is Mrs. Keoki Williams, was elected as outstanding elementary mathematics teacher by the North Carolina Council of Teachers of Mathematics. We'll give her a hand clap. So we would like to recognize and acknowledge the EC Teacher of the Year for Weldon City Schools, Mrs. Karen Taylor. Here, the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction meet in their, North Carolina to recognize outstanding EC educators at their annual Exceptional Children Educators of Excellence. Congratulations to Mrs. Karen Taylor, who has been selected as the EC Teacher of the Year for Weldon City Schools. Class recognition, we just want to share this with everyone. This recognition is the 2024-2025 73rd Exceptional Children Conference that we had an opportunity, myself, Dr. Boone, Mrs. Bullock, and also Mr. Hunter had the opportunity to attend. Wonderful conference, provided a wealth of resources through networking with state and local representatives. Our team was also privileged to sit under the teaching and instruction of presenters that were experts in their field. We were also able to download and keep the resources related to each of the presentations, bring back to our district for professional development and ongoing enhancement in EC3K programs as well as other departments throughout the district. Thank you so much for your attention. You guys have a wonderful rest of the board meeting.
Next item on the agenda is public forum. Dr. Shuffle, do we have anyone tonight for public
Yes,
forum?
ma'am, I do. I have one person here. I have Ms. Regina Brooks.
All right, so Virginia Brooks present. Virginia Brooks. Ms. Brooks, you have 3 minutes for your public forum, and I will be keeping time, and I will let you know when you're down to 1 minute. Okay? All right, whenever you are.
Good evening. Good evening. I come to you tonight with a heavy, with a joyous heart. While we are meeting here, Weldon in Action was meeting next door to recognize Mr. James Williams and Reverend, two giants in our community that we have lost. Weldon City Schools has lost, Weldon has lost, Weldon Baptist Church has lost. Reverend Kyle, you may not have known, on election day was killed on his motorcycle. The pastor of Weldon Baptist Church, world-renowned man, history buff, he could have made a wonderful difference in Weldon City Schools. Please pray for Reverend Kyle's family and your former chairman, Mr. James Williams' family. If you've ever lost a loved one, the holidays can be very, very difficult. And on another note, I had some gifts for you tonight, Miss Jenkins, but I can still tell you about them. One, there's a magazine, an Eastern magazine that has people who are passionate, teachers, passionate about education. I looked in it hoping to find someone from this area, but I didn't. So I'm going to give Miss Jenkins the magazine, at least 3 of them. They didn't look like me, didn't look like some others. I wonder where those passionate people, I certainly hope Weldon City Schools administrative staff will let them know that you have some passionate people. We need passionate educators. Another one, Ms. Jenkins, I have some more little Jesus. In 2024, 25, I know you're gonna need them. So pass them around, pass them out. And congratulations to the 3 candidates who won school board.
Yeah, 1 minute.
It's time to get to work. Our children are in dire need. And last, I come to congratulate you as well on getting out of low performing. I know some people personally, because I've had long conversations with them, and I want to make sure I mention them. I've known them at least 2 years, and I know that if it wasn't for them, we may have fallen back into a rut. Some of them are Dr. Wendy Carpenter, Mr. Andrew Davis, Mr. Devon Hunter, Mrs. Anesta Robinson, Ms. Deborah Jenkins, Mr. James Lynch, Ms. Melody Boyd, Mr. Clyde Bullock, Ms. Deidre Gladson, Ms. Betty Scott, Ms. Matilda Campbell, Ms. Hyatt, Ms. LaQuasia Hudson, Dr. Jeannie Robertson, Miss Jennifer Pete Posey. As I state, they are just a few that I've known, a few, but I know they have a passion for education. Weldon City Schools, there's a proverb that says, if you're on the bus or on the train and you're going in the wrong direction, stop right where you are, get off the train, make a difference. Don't be afraid to stay out of low performing. Get your passion. Let's get on that train, on that bus, hire people who are passionate about education. And if you're not, please leave Weldon. Thank you.
Right, the next item is going to be, reports, Dr. Shockley.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. The first, item that's up for some action under my report is the Weldon in Action lease agreement. This is something that, Sharon Lynn with, Barrington Smith has been working with, the lawyers with the, Weldon in Action group. And we came to an agreement here, and the way that it's arranged, and Jason, pop in anytime, is that you all can, if it's your wish, approve it tonight. And then we are obligated to advertise it for 30 days in the newspaper and online and on our website. And then after the 30 days, we'll be able to execute the contract. And to remind everyone, this is the 5-year lease agreement, and it's for them to be able to apply for a grant to really redo the Ralph J. Bunch school area with projects and landscaping, and make it a really wonderful place for people to be very proud of here in Weldon.
And that's right. I'll set a little bit more context to that. So what the board can do tonight with this type of a lease agreement, it does have to be posted for 30 days in a local newspaper. So if this is something you would like to approve, you can approve it for posting. And as you'll notice, there are some blanks in here, like blanks for the date of the agreement and beginning and ending dates. And that's because those are all dependent on the end of that 30-day period. So those dates will be determined once it's been posted and once those 30 days are done.
So I have a question. Because we just received these documents, can we put this in? Weldon in Action is a great resource, and we work greatly with them. But because we just received them, we haven't had an opportunity to look at them. I'm going to request that we approve these at our next meeting.
And I was just going to say, we did give out an example of it at the last board meeting, and we put it back to the legal counsel to review it.
I'm happy to weigh in on that too. So you certainly could postpone that. That could put the potential grant funding that Weldon in Action is seeking at risk. There were a few details in the lease to work out between my colleague Sharon Lynn and Weldon in Action's attorney. Due to just different schedules, they weren't able to connect and finalize things until I think early this week.
Yep.
So while certainly we do try and get everything in 5 days in advance, it wasn't finalized between the lawyers on both ends until somewhat recently, and do believe that their grant application is due in December. And since they have requested and we've drafted a lease agreement because of that 30-day period where it has to be posted, that would push any additional action until January, which might be too late.
Okay, no, we certainly don't want to do that because we want them to get the grant. You've already had an opportunity to look at it and go through. Okay.
Yeah, this document, it's been reviewed, negotiated by our office with their attorney. I know when this has been before the board, before there was concerns around liability and who'd be responsible for maintenance and all of that. That's all addressed in this agreement. It would essentially hand the property over to Weldon in Action for the next 5 years, and they can seek grant funds to continue their project.
Okay.
Now,
Because we have two different.
yes.
We have two different documents.
The original one, and then the one that was.
So that's right. So it's, so the lease agreement is I don't know how it's been printed out for you online. It's all one document. There is a lease and then a resolution. So the resolution is something that's approved after those 30 days. So it's
So-
something you want to approve
This is it.
tonight.
So this is the one we'll.
Resolution that's back. I
You would be approving both for posting.
So which one are we looking
think
at?
it's this one here.
This is the one. So this one is the resolution.
Yes.
So this is the one we need to look at approving. Okay, I make a motion that we,
We're gonna approve both.
The
Right.
lease and the resolution, yeah. Approval for posting.
so it's a lease on the front of this.
Mhm.
And then on the back of it is the resolution. So this one we don't have to worry about. Is that what you're saying? Okay, I make a motion that we approve, I make a motion that we approve the lease agreement for Weldon in Action.
Second, is there a second?
Second.
All right, been motion by Ms. Burr Robinson, second by Ms. Donna Harrison to approve the lease agreement for Weldon in Action. Are there any questions? If not, can I get your usual voting sign? Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, and the lease for Weldon in Action has been approved. Next item on the agenda.
And then, next, we have the RBAC MOU. This was also passed out to everyone at the October regular board meeting. And there have been no changes, in the language in the MOU. And, I would, if you would, please, I ask for approval tonight so that we can go ahead and get it back to the college.
Can I get a motion to approve, the MOU for RDEC? And second?
Second.
Okay. And moved by, motion by Ms. Bird Robinson, second by Ms. Donna Harrison to approve the MOU for RDEC. Any questions from anyone? If not, can I get your usual voting sign of aye? Ayes, aye for Tiffany Hill also, ayes have it. Any opposed? All right, the MOU has been approved for RDEC. Next item on the agenda is Hansberry Agreement for Andrew Jackson School.
Yes, ma'am. As we talked about in the previous meeting, that we have gone to the next step of being considered as a nominee for a national registry site for the Andrew Jackson School. With that will come, a report and more research. And, Ms. Hansberry came to the reunion and got a lot of, oral history, while she was attending there and really captured the, how much that school means to the people here in our community. And so she has given me an agreement, and you guys don't have it because, it's basically the same agreement as before. For me, what I need is whether or not you want to proceed with that. It's only $3,500. So, I just want to make sure before I signed it and everything that you all were okay with that. If there was anybody that had anything that was against it.
All right, any questions from the board? Ms. Hansberry is charging our district, $3,500 to move forward with the, project of doing the, for Andrew Jackson School, but it's on the national register.
Mhm.
Anyone opposed to that? Now, can I get a motion to approve, the $3,500 to pay Ms. Hansberry?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been motion by Ms. Bird Robinson, second by Ms. Donna Harrison to approve the Hansberry agreement for $3,500 to move forward with the Andrew Jackson, school project for the national register. Any questions from anyone? If not, can I get your usual voting sign of aye? Ayes have it. And so the Hansberry agreement for $3,500 has been approved. Next item on the agenda.
I still got some more stuff. It's just a report.
Okay,
It's just part of the report.
okay.
Man, I know you're rolling over there. It's okay. At this time, I'd like to recognize our wonderful band director, Mr. Jolly Manning, to come up here so everybody can see who is the magical person that is making all that beautiful music come from that end of the school. Yes, sir, please.
I thank you all for setting me here in Weldon. Home, always doing great things. I get plenty of help from Tyler. If I ask for it, try their best to make sure I get it. This is Dr. Shopworth. He's been doing an excellent job getting me what I need for my kids. He's been dropping instruments off my hand and calling me and emailing me at school. So he's giving me a great hand for the kids as well. And the kids are having fun in the learning. That's the great thing about it. And they're interested in music. And so singers this year. I'm looking, trying to get them scholarship opportunities. We performed at football games. They want to perform tomorrow. We performed at football games. We had a parade so far. We did a concert yesterday. We performed Black History Month, Black History, National Society. We played the Black History song the other day. We played a couple more songs for the people that were there. So in the future, we got a couple of battles to do. May play a football game tomorrow. Next semester, we're gonna do a big band battle with some of these type of bands and some of the private schools. So the kids are excited. Now, I can't get a free moment at school. I don't get a credit period because they're in my room every 5 minutes. That's a good thing for me. Because my kids love my classroom and love being in there. I just thank God for the opportunity. Thank you.
Mr. Manning, y'all won a competition of some kind too, didn't you?
Yeah, we went to a parade and there were 7 bands there. And we got 3rd place out of 7 bands.
And I love going to his class, because I went in there and he was like, is he in here observing me or something? Just told him, I said, man, I'm just sitting back here just enjoying it. Because you can, I mean, really, what we want to have in school is to touch the different talents that our children have. And to be able to have the band program resurrected in such a quick way that you've been able to do it is really giving an outlet for those kids that are musically inclined to be able to come in there and express themselves. And that's what education's all about. And I am working on your tubas and your bass drums. And I will tell you this, one of the local pawn shops here had 3 brand new instruments, and they gave me a discount on it when I told them that I was getting it for our kids over here. And so it's a lot of people that is rooting for you. And so we're just looking for all that beautiful music to come out of there. And thank you so very much. I wanted to echo too that yesterday was a really wonderful day for me. I got to start the morning off at the high school with the National Honor Society inductions. And we had young men and women who were inducted into the Honor Society. Their parents were there, and a nice reception in the media center when it was over with. And then last night, to round out the day, I was at a packed house over at Weldon Elementary Global Academy. We had parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends. Everybody was there to recognize the students that were being inducted into the WIGA Ambassador Program. And so that was just a great way to kind of sandwich the day, being an educator, is to see the celebration that we have with our young men and women. And then finally, we have to say this too. Our football team's in the 2nd round of the playoffs. And they are going to Tarboro. As I had told Mr. Hopkins, we got everything to win and nothing to lose. And I am looking forward to watching on NFHS app because I'm watching my son play basketball. So I'm doing double duty. But I watch Weldon when it gets on the app there, and I am going to be screaming. It's probably not going to coincide with a basketball game, but y'all know that you're going to hear me all the way from Eden. So, yeah, and I would love to be able to come back, send y'all an email next week, say, hey, we're going to get buses to go to the 3rd round. All right, we're all about that now. And that's all I have, Madam Vice Chair.
And thank you, Dr. Shotwell. We have number 4, bonus.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. That was I thought that was under financials.
It's under.
Financial, okay.
It is on financial.
Okay.
All right, okay, so we'll move to the board chair report, vice chair. And I'd just like to say that we are in November, about to be out next week for Thanksgiving. It's a great time of the year, a time to give back to the community and to our families and be with our families. But at the same time, it's a great time because we're no longer low performing. We came out of that and we celebrated coming out of low performance status a few weeks ago, which was a great time at Weldon Middle School. We have a lot of good things going on at Weldon. I mean, it's just, they named a few things tonight. Our band, who's getting different awards, the first time I heard them playing, I didn't even know that it was Weldon band. I thought it was another school band because they were sounding so strong. So, our athletic department, 2nd round with football, that's a great thing as well. I mean, we're making improvements, we're making strides, and I'm looking forward to many more things to come. Great things coming out of Weldon, great things happening in Weldon, We're gonna get our kids back in Weldon, and we're about to get a new school. By the way, next Tuesday, I want to invite each and every one of you all out to Weldon. I don't even know what's Weldon High School. We'll still call it that, because it's always gonna be that. But I would like to invite everyone that's in here and in the community, the ones that's listening, out to the grounds of Weldon High School. We will have our groundbreaking ceremony as well as our demolition. It's gonna be a bittersweet occasion, but we want all of you all to come out, tell a friend, a neighbor, tell everybody that came out to, that came through Weldon High School. And, to come out to this joyous occasion and share some tears with me.
And I'll piggyback on that. We're gonna have early release so that kids want to come and everything. And plus, it's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving and everybody just wants to get built up for turkey.
Yes.
So, cause I would like to have the two principals and their staff, they'd like to be there at the groundbreaking. So
Yes.
it's gonna be really nice.
It is, and also bus drivers and drop the kids off at home and families come on out and witness this occasion, because it's going to be momentous. But just like Dr. Shotwell just said, that was gonna be next on my list, next Tuesday. So we'll have early release so that everyone can come out and participate. And that is all. When we come back from Thanksgiving, we'll be gearing up towards our first semester in December. So I'm wishing everyone the best. Our December meeting has been moved to December 17th. Instead of December 19th, it's gonna be on the Tuesday night, December 17th. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows that. Also, I have not discussed it, but I do see our two board member elect in here tonight. And I know that we had kind of discussed you all being sworn in, but their swearing in ceremony will be on December, the first Monday in December. What's it, the third? Second. December 2nd. According to legislation, we have to have it on the first Monday in December. So we'll have a swearing in ceremony on Monday, December 2nd, and we will have it here at this location. So for every
Time.
we're gonna have it at 5 o'clock. So for everyone that would like to witness that occasion as well, please come out and be with us on that evening. And that concludes my announcements.
This day of what time is Tuesday? You said at Weldon High School.
Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am. And our next board meeting for December will be December 17th at 5:30.
But it's gonna be
Here, it'll be here. You have it here for next month? Yes, here. Same room. All right. That's all I have for tonight. And thank you all. I did miss last night with the induction for the Charge Ambassadors. I try to get out and attend as many activities as I can to support the schools and the students, of course. But I see that you all had a great turnout, and I wish you all well in the future. That's it. So the next item on the agenda is going to be Ms. Campbell. Echo, I'm sorry. This kid, I do apologize.
Good evening, Sale Co-Chair, Dr. Shotwell, and Superintendent and board members.
Good evening.
I am here to present to you all the October financial statement. First one I will go over expense. And I'll start with our revenues. The beginning balance for our revenues is $270,584.34. We had total monthly deposits of $849,622.65, with a year-to-date total of $1,120,171.99. For our expenditures for that month, we have $507,510.59. Total expenses for the month, $278,475.28. With the year-to-date total of $785,985.80. Our net result for the year is $334,186.12. With an unobligated fund balance of $1,541,880.88. Next is our local expense fund. Our beginning balance for revenues, $110,025.35. Total monthly deposits of $52,161.62. With a year-to-date total of $162,186.97. Our expenditures were $230,387.81. Total expenditures for the month, $95,500.16. With a year-to-date total of $325,887.97. With a net result for the year of a negative $163,701. Therefore, ending with an unobligated fund balance of $1,559,405.06. Capital outlay, beginning balance by revenues, $40,949.36. And a total monthly deposits of $14,666.32. With a year-to-date balance of $55,615.68. Expenditures, beginning balance, $274,907.33. Total expenditures for the month, $12,045.28. With a year-to-date balance of $286,952.61. Net result for the year, negative $231,336.93. With our even an unobligated fund balance of $1,059,421.43. $1,059,421.43. Child nutrition. For revenue, we have a beginning balance of $135,467.91. Total monthly deposits, $95,926.57. Year to date, for $231,394.58. For our expenditures, beginning balance, $141,318.59. Total expenses for the month, $107,290.50. For the year to date, total of $248,609.25. With a net result of a negative $17,214.67. Unobligated fund balance of $102,371.43. Do you have any questions? Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is going to be our audit presentation. And this, oh, okay, that's my deal. All right, we have Mr. Paul with us tonight.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Shotwell. You're going well this evening. Each of you should have a copy of the June 30th, 2024 audited financial statements that we've issued. And the financial statements cover two main areas that we're required to audit and issue reports on. The first being the financial section, which is the first 54 pages of the report, followed by the compliance section, which starts on page 55. Now, there's just a couple pages of financial information in the audit that I plan to go over with you. And we'll ask you to turn to. However, I think we start off by mentioning, and there's no need to turn there unless you want to. On pages 1 through 3 of the report is the audit opinion letter that we issued on the financial section of the audit. The report is a clean, unmodified opinion, which means that we feel the financial information included in the report is reliable and free of any material misstatements. Now, the first page I would like you to turn to is page 13, and we'll look at exhibit 3. While you turn there, exhibits 3 and 4 are essentially the balance sheet and income statements for all of your governmental funds. These schedules show the fund balances and fund activities on a fund by fund basis. Now, on page 13, in the first column, the next to last number, you'll see at the bottom of the page, you'll see the general fund balance at the end of the year, by June 30th, 2024, was $1,082,736. That is an increase of about $235,000 from the amount reported in the prior year. And across the state, we've seen districts spending down their fund balance this past year. So it's good to see that y'all have done a great job of building your fund balance back up, especially dropping last year or 2 years ago. So even though y'all did budget to spend $716,000 in fund balance, that was not needed for 23-24. And as we've emphasized over the past several years, we do feel it's important for the district to have extra fund balance and cash reserves, especially with federal COVID relief funds having now expired. And with rising costs, minimum wage increases, these are going to start weighing more heavily on school districts as we move forward. And the other funds, looking at those, the other special revenue fund at the end of the fund balance of $1,478,107. Capital outlay had an ending fund balance of $1,174,745. And individual schools had an ending fund balance of $50,403. But overall, these funds do appear to be in decent financial condition as of June 30th, 2024. Are there any questions before we go? And then the second page I'd like you to turn to would be page 54, and the district's school food service fund. This schedule shows the revenues, expenses, and changes in net position for fund balance for the school food service fund. And you'll see in the middle column, about 3/4 of the way down the page, the program reported a loss for the year of $23,425. And the previous year, the district had reported a loss of about $66,000. So that is a year-over-year improvement of $43,000. And that improvement in profitability over the prior year was primarily due to the fact that the board was able to increase food sales and USDA reimbursements while reducing overall operating loss or costs. But the cash balance in the program were $202,000 at year end, which was a decrease of $27,000 for the year. So overall, the program does appear to be in good financial condition as of June 30th, 2024. Are there any questions? Now, a significant portion of the audit is related to testing of the board's internal controls and compliance with various state and federal laws and regulations, primarily pertaining to state and federal grant funding received by the district. And starting on page 61 is the scheduled finding and question costs related to our compliance and internal control testing. And we did know there was one finding reported on pages 62 through 63. And as I go over this, feel free to interrupt me and if you have any questions. But this finding is 23-01, starting on page 62. This finding relates to budgets in the board's general ledger accounting system not being reconciled throughout the year to the amended budgets approved by the Board of Education. Significant improvements is worth noting that significant improvements were made during the year and the board's budgetary processes compared to the previous year's audit. However, it was noted that the budgets entered into the general ledger for the state public school fund and federal grants funds did not agree to the final amended budgets approved by the Board of Education. Therefore, financial decisions could have been made based on inaccurate budgetary data. It is worth noting, though, that we did not note any budget violations or anything like that. But we just recommend that controls and procedures be implemented to ensure that budgets reflected in the board general ledger accounting system are reconciled throughout the year to the amended budgets approved by the Board of Education. And we will be following up with this finding as part of the June 30th, 2025 audit. Are there any questions on that? Now, we also issued a separate two-page management letter, and you should have that in these separate financial statements regarding matters in which there were opportunities for the board to strengthen internal controls and operating efficiencies. As I go over these items, feel free again to interrupt me at any time. But the first thing, purchasing and contracts. As part of the audit, we selected a sample of expenditures for testing to ensure that proper controls and procedures are being followed. As a result of these procedures, we noted that purchase orders were not being prepared on a consistent basis, which indicates that goods were ordered or received before the finance officer approval had been obtained for the expenditure. None of the expenditures noted were significant or of any unusual or questionable nature. All were reviewed and approved by the finance officer prior to payment. However, again, you want to get that done prior to encumber or those funds being obligated. In addition, we noted an expenditure for library books that exceeded $10,000, which did not have board approval, and that is required by Board Policy 6420. But when possible, we recommend that approved purchase orders be in place for expenditures before goods and services are procured. For recurring purchases from the same vendor, utilizing an open purchase order will be sufficient and would eliminate the need for multiple purchase order requests. Proper use of purchase orders helps ensure that employees are not obligating the district without having prior approval from the finance officer and the board. And this prior approval is important to allow the finance officer to verify that sufficient unencumbered funds are in the budget to cover the expenditure. And in addition, procedures should be put in place to ensure that purchases exceeding $10,000 are approved by the board before being initiated. We recommend that these purchasing guidelines be emphasized to all staff members with purchasing responsibility. And the next one was related to individual school audit comments. As a result of our audit of the individual school records, we noted various areas where controls and procedures should be implemented or improved on. A complete listing of these items by school was provided to management during our audit. And we recommend these items be followed up on to ensure that any noted issues have been adequately addressed by the respective schools. And the next item on the next page is Medicaid fee-for-service reimbursements. Per discussion with management during the audit, the district has not requested Medicaid fee-for-service funds for the past 3 fiscal years. Management indicated that the estimated funding would total over $150,000. This funding can be used to supplement services provided in the district special education program. And we recommend that the board take immediate actions to determine if there is still time to request this funding for the past 3 fiscal years. And controls and procedures should be implemented to ensure that this funding is requested on a timely basis each year. And the next one is the timekeeping system. The district currently utilizes the manual timekeeping process whereby paper timesheets are completed each pay period. We recommend that the board give careful consideration to implementing an automated timekeeping system. The use of an automated system would provide the following benefits. The system can fully integrate into the payroll software, which would save payroll staff time from having to manually keep timesheets. Utilization of an automated system would help or should help to greatly reduce the risk of an employee being paid improperly, as there will be no risk of timesheet keying errors. And it would keep staff honest and reduce the risk of employees taking time off without it being charged against their annual leave balance. And most districts across the state have already implemented this type of system because of the benefits described above. And then old outstanding checks included in the June 30th, 2024 local bank reconciliation. The district has $11,519.97 of outstanding checks that are more than 1 year old. And these checks should be investigated and either reissued or escheated in accordance with state law. Any specific questions relating to any of those items?
Yeah, You go ahead. I gotta go back to my notes first, so you go ahead.
Well, I was gonna ask, the first thing is the timekeeping system.
Yeah.
I think that, don't we already have that, or we paid for it, or we approved it? Sometimes go with links.
Links is, but we're waiting for the, to get a full, they was waiting, we couldn't do it because you didn't have a full-time finance officer, so that is something they're gonna look into implement in January.
Okay, all right, so that'll eliminate that problem. Okay, and the second thing is the outstanding checks.
Yeah, that's something I just mentioned to Kathy, has to be worked on. It wasn't done after I retired and it wasn't done last year. I wasn't there enough to really get it done. So that is something we'll work on to get it, make sure it's get done this school year.
Okay.
My questions, the first one is, can't read my own writing. Well, Ms. Campbell and Dr. Shaw will kind of answer that. They said they're working on that. And I know that we had said that we could go back to 2 years.
We thought that you could go back 2 years, but when I talked with Fairbanks, you cannot go back. And by the time the whole process got, Dr. Shaw, well, you have to help me. By the time the whole process got implemented last school year, it was too late to do. So they are ready to move forward, starting with this school year to do the fee for service. So next school year, you'll be able to get the fee for service.
So we can't get anything for 23, 24.
No,
We'll
because
have
nothing was planned.
25.
Right.
So,
And we already have agreements with the people that we're doing business with to make sure that we get the logs and everything. I mean, that's really the big part right
Right.
there, to be able to put it in. And so we're already getting that information.
so that's the Fairbanks, the moment in time for
The
Mhm.
time study
whatever you
stuff.
were doing at 10:05.
Right. If they had claimed just $5 the whole school year,
We would
you
have
could have
gotten.
gotten it, but because the providers didn't, you cannot get it.
So have any of our staff members that you're aware of received that for this school year already?
As far as the providers,
That email that says within a week, you will need to tell what you're doing at 10:05 on Tuesday
and
morning.
I think Ms. Fuller has been working on that, because everything has been implemented now to get it done.
Okay,
Yes. Because we stressed to her that that was a concern.
okay. The other one was. You said that we were $23,425, I think you said in the red for child nutrition, right? On page 54.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so have you given us any suggestions, though it has decreased? Have you given us suggestions for it to decrease even more?
That would be something, I mean, as far as like what you can do to do that, honestly, would come from, reaching out to maybe, either other child nutrition directors across the state or, there's even consultants out there that come in and kind of look at efficiencies and make recommendations. That's something that y'all certainly can contain, if y'all want to do that.
Do we have BPI in supporting us on that?
Yes, we
Okay.
do.
All right.
Yeah.
And Ms. Campbell, you said Ms. Kidd, or Ms. Campbell. Okay, I thought that, going back to what Ms. Hale said, I thought that we already had a system in place for clocking in and out. And it just hadn't been, I thought that we had the device here on campus. We do not have the device on campus.
You guys, you all approved for a timekeeping system to be implemented.
Mhm.
But there was a loss in translation
Yes.
from y'all's action to making it happen.
We found the requisition,
Mhm.
but nothing was it was never moved forward for us purchasing it. We just found the actual purchase order, but never found the,
It was never
actual implemented where they
And it was-
ordered or did anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
My last question. We said that we had, you said it was several things being purchased
Yes, ma'am.
and they had not been approved and they were in excess of $10,000.
Well, there was one, we had one expenditure for library books that exceeded 10,000.
So who approved for it to get there? Was it approved through director since it didn't come through, finance? I'm wondering how it was ever ordered.
Those incidents, when we found it, we were getting the invoices.
And not just the media, for the media center, I'm just saying, period.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things
There
that,
was things that was ordered and then when it came through finance, we were getting either a check request attached to it or the requisition attached to it. And as I shared with them, when most time I would put it in an email and I share with, at that time, Dr. Simonton here and Dr. Shotwell, that you cannot do a requisition after we receive the invoice. So there was documentation what we sent out and talked to them, and we stressed to them that you cannot do that. If you purchase it at the school and get reimbursed, or your department be reimbursed, it still cannot exceed what the threshold amount is.
and it still has to come through finance.
Yes. And even if it's up under the threshold amount, the supervisor had to approve the purchases. And I think there was a couple incidents this school year and Dr. Shotwell shut it completely down and told them what the process was. So you would still have people would try to go ahead and purchase stuff and then try to either submit the purchase order. And I'm like, no, you just need to do a check request at this point, because we can't. The only thing you can move forward with, and I got approval through the auditors, if it's a renewal. It's a renewal for a subscription or something like that, then the auditor told me I did not have to have an actual purchase order for that. Because it's a renewal, because it's an annual renewal, and we were good in those incidents. So anytime it had happened, I will always immediately address it. But of course, sometimes we understand emergency happen, but the factor is, like I told them and I shared with Ms. Kidd, is let me just give you the PO number. As long as I give you that PO number before you move forward with the purchase, we're covered.
That's right.
Even though it happened in the same day, but you got that purchase order number before, we don't have to print the purchase orders. I can just give you the PO number. And then you can go out and purchase what you need to do.
Have we added that in our handbook, Dr. Shotwell, so that people can go back and refer?
Everybody who deals with money got a nice, wonderful email from me about the second month I was here that explained it, and we reiterated it too. Even with controls over, if they try to use a district credit card, you gotta issue a purchase order first before it. Because the main reason that we wanna have a purchase order too, is that when we take an invoice and work it through there, we're able to recoup some of the sales tax and a refund. If we're reimbursing somebody, we can't. And that's where people don't understand. And you know, a little reimbursement here and there, and you start adding it up, you start missing out on some opportunity to be able to recoup some of the sales tax for the district. You know, and it's very clear in terms of where they need to be. And we reiterate that with our bookkeepers too. And now that we're fully staffed.
And just got to get the procedure manual. It's the same procedure manual and such a turnover in staffing that, you know, you forget to share that procedure manual with the new staffing. So that's something that needs to be shared where it is right now. And then hopefully eventually it can get updated.
I mean, there is a possibility you all may get a call from somebody and said, hey, I was just told I gotta buy this myself. When they tell you that, ask them for as Paul Harvey used to say, the rest of the story.
All right.
Any questions on the management letter? Okay. And then, we did also issue a separate 3-page letter, that you all should have as well. It details specific items that we're required to communicate to the board about. This letter basically just has boilerplate language. It discusses that there were no difficulties or disagreements encountered in dealing with management during the audit. There were no uncorrected misstatements noted, and the letter also makes reference to the finding that we had already discussed. But again, that letter just has some boilerplate language that we're required to issue to y'all. But we really do appreciate Ms. Campbell and the finance staff for all their hard work in helping us complete the audit. And, you know, as I mentioned, we have to test a lot of compliance with federal state grants and requirements. And even though we do touch other departments outside of finance, it really does, fall about 95 to 98% on the finance officer, to get that together. So we really do appreciate Ms. Campbell and her hard work, in helping us get the audit completed. Were there any specific questions related to the audit before I wrap up? Well, we really do appreciate y'all allowing our firm to, do the audit this year. And we look forward to working with y'all again next year.
We appreciate you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right. The next item is going to be the 2024-25 budget. approval. Motion to approve the 2024-25 budget.
Make a motion to approve 2024.
The second.
I make a motion to approve.
All right, the motion by Ms. Edith Jenkins and seconded by Ms. Tanya Bird Robinson to approve the 2024-25 budget. Are any questions from anyone? If not, I get your usual vote of sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, and the 2024-25 budget has been approved.
And on that same vein, since we handed out the budget amendments 1 through 34 last month, nothing has been changed from that, other than the date. We whited out the date at the top. No need to retype all those things and do the exact same thing again. I would respectfully request, if you would, to approve the budget amendment so that we're not gonna be caught up. We're still gonna be a month behind, which we'll catch back up in December. But if you could do that, that would be a great help for us.
Is there a motion to approve the budget amendments?
Make a motion to approve the budget amendment.
Okay, it's been a motion by Ms. Donna Harrison and seconded by Ms. Edith Jenkins to approve the budget amendments. Are there any questions from anyone? Not all those in favor, say aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, and the budget amendments have been approved.
Thank you so much.
Next item on the agenda is ESSER funding positions.
Yes, ma'am.
Shopper.
And at the October board meeting, there was a question about who all were those positions, because when we talked about it, we used the conservative number of 5, but there's actually more than that. It's actually 10.5 positions that were being, yeah, that's it. It was 10.5 positions that were being paid for out of ESSER funds, that the ESSER funds are now gone. And the employees are still with us, still have an important role with William City Schools. And, you all needed to see that that does impact your budget for this upcoming year, because you do not have that federal funding anymore to cover these positions. While they're covered in 3 different areas, both local, federal, and state. Like the 3 teaching positions at RVEC are local. And then you can look at obviously some of the others are out of EC and the federal programs, and administrative assistant out of federal programs. AIG will come out of AIG sources. And then anything that I cannot use any state or federal funds for will come out of local, which goes back to the public relations officer, operations director, and a district-wide instructional coordinator. And the instructional technology director also will come from local too. The reason I say that is that, this leads into the questions that y'all are going to be that you're asking for, which will be the next thing. And you're asking about the Christmas bonus. I absolutely understand that you all have done this, but it's been paid for with ESSER funds. Or back in a time when you had over $2 million in your fund balance. And what I handed out to you here is that there's $125,000 that we paid for salaries in July and August using ESSER funds. This July and August, the $125,000 is not going to be there. You all have done an excellent job of borrowing or possibly spending $750,000 in 23-24 to putting $254,000 into your savings account, because we don't know what's going to happen. When people are talking about dismantling the Department of Education, I don't know what that means. But I know we get a lot of money that they'll pay for our children to have wonderful teachers and experiences here in Weldon. And so with that being said, I feel like that your fund balance is for emergency. This year, it's a whole lot less that we're asking to balance the local current expense budget with. It's 100, I think it was 130, I'll tell you here in a second. $189,992.40, which is almost, over 550,000 less than what you had last year. That's if every expense in your current expense is used. Worst case scenario, the coldest winter, the hottest summer, all those kinds of things. Hopefully that won't happen and we won't have to take anything from there. But I say all that is that in 25, 26, people talk about the financial cliff this year. Next year is when we hear the splash. And is it gonna be a belly flop? People aren't prepared, or is it gonna be a smooth dive into the water and we made headway to be able to prepare for it? And that's the only reason that I would caution you about being able to pay out a bonus, because when you pay out a bonus, it's money that will be spent and no recovery on it. And right now, with your local budget, we do not have that incorporated in here so that we could keep the fund balance appropriation down. And so, and if you look at this, most of this are, you could say, if you take these same folks, because there's bits and pieces in here of salaries, but the benefits include, the FICA, the retirement and hospitalization. That's included in that. So if you multiply that out by 10, that's $1.2 million that we're obligating ourselves if we're paying for these same people out of the same salary items. What we try to do during the year is we always try to look at places that are in the state and federal budgets where we can pick people up to save our local funds. That's the mission of every superintendent and finance officer in North Carolina. And that's what we're going to continue to do. Your restart salary allows that flexibility for us to be able to do some of that. But once we are now more fully employed with teachers, we need to see what that obligation is going to be to the end of the year and then see how that impacts our local budget here. I'm not saying that we don't want to do that. I'm just saying that you need to be cautious and understand that, that this is, I mean, it's like your home budget. If I've got $1,000 in my savings account and I spend $1,000 a month, but I'm only making $900, at the end of 10 months, I gotta make a change. I either gotta cut back my expenses or I gotta increase my revenue.
So in short, the answer is no, we don't have any.
Yes, ma'am. But, I work for the will and pleasure of the Wheeling City Board of Education.
Next item on the agenda,
Transportation.
bus driver compensation.
A top end bus driver for us makes $19.93. And so, when you look at it, it is more than some of our neighboring counties, not as high as some of our other neighboring counties. There are some that might pay a little bit more, but our kids are a whole lot better. So driving our bus is a lot better than driving buses for somebody else. Not mention anybody in our listening area. I'm just saying. It is an increase from last year. It's about 3%. We did not see a minimum from the state, the transportation folks. When Steve Beecham used to be there, he would send that out to superintendents and finance officers every year, but we really hadn't seen that in the last several years. But it really does put us, I know it puts us higher than at least one district in Halifax County.
So did we make contact with DPI to see?
I went and looked on the financial and business webpage to see if there's anything out there on there, and I didn't see anything in there. But I can follow back up if that's what you'd like for me to do.
Please, to see what they reimburse us.
Right now, we're getting, you asked me about, the reimbursement. If you decide to supplement bus driver salaries, then you pay it at a local 056, which you would have to, for bus drivers. that would then impact your state funding and reduce it because it would change your efficiency rating for your funding. Weldon City enjoys 100% funding from the state, which I can tell you, being in Rockingham County, the best I ever got was 92%, and the rest of it had to come from local funds. So it's a catch-22. You want to increase it, but at the same time, you're going to lose money that's going to be there for running our school buses.
And I don't want us to lose money, but I want us, the rate that they, like I said, Ms. Campbell had the gentleman, is that the gentleman that retired? That spoke to us one time, is that the reimbursement rate was $20. And what I'm saying is, if they're reimbursing us the $20 for that driver, then that's what I want us to do.
What-
Not saying any
Sure.
on top of that,
Sure.
because I know we're a small district, but I'm just looking at
But
that.
typically with dollar allotments like this, they're usually using an average and not the maximum on the scale. It's usually somewhere in between of the two that they do. And that's why it makes it hard for, not only for transportation, but for EC allocation and AIG, because we don't get enough to
Right.
cover everything that we have here. And with the price of gas is also a little bit more this year than it's been, and that's gonna eat in. Hopefully we'll get another allocation. I'll find out in 2 weeks when I go to the superintendent's winter conference and find out exactly if we're gonna get a one-time infusion of gas money. Like they have done that in the past, but with everything that's happening in the western part of the state, I'm not sure what that's gonna look like. And when you look at the gas prices, we don't pay the same gas price that the rest of us do when we go to the station. We pay a non-taxed rate. And that rate changes daily and sometimes hourly. And when we order, Weldon doesn't order the gas, Halifax County does. But when I used to order gas in Rockingham County, we would check and see what the state contracted rate was for that day. And then we would contact another vendor, and the vendor usually was at least 3 to 5 cents less per gallon than what the state rate is, which allows you to be able to use that vendor for the lower price. And when you're buying 10,000 to 20,000 gallons of gas twice a week, it does make a difference. That's just a little historical perspective in terms of how everything's taken care of.
Yeah, if we can get the,
I can get that for you.
thank you.
All right. The next item is federal programs and student services. Dismiss.
And I don't think we have anything for that tonight.
Okay. All right, this time I am going to call for a small short break because we have presentations after this and it'll be a while. So
Mhm.
if it's the pleasure, does the board want to take a small short break right now at this time?
It'd be fine.
Whatever. We're gonna recess for about 5 minutes. We're now back in session. And we're gonna start with Dr. Shotwell.
It's good stuff.
All right.
I want to say, if you can keep me straight, whether at home or what. Or am I keeping you straight? I can't remember. I think you want to keep me straight. Yeah. I want to recognize, every year we receive, certificates from the Department of Public Instruction. And, just so happens, it came in the mail today. And so what we have, we're presenting awards for achieving and exceeding and expected academic growth in the North Carolina Accountability System. In addition to displaying the certificates, the schools may obtain a web site badge graphic that can be used for the school website and on printed items, banners, t-shirts, anything they choose to download a badge. And so we are going to recognize a few of the schools here. The first one, we would like to recognize Weldon Middle School for an academic growth award for meeting academic growth for last year. I know, come on now. I need you next picture.
Oh, wow. Just left too.
Yes.
Just left, Ms. Easter.
Oh, wow.
She didn't know about this.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great.
So you have to do it. Yeah, I like that. It's gonna cover the bottom. Congratulations. All right. Our next one. Is School Career Academies for exceeding academic growth. This is your exceeding academic growth award. See, going to a meeting. We have two to present to, Rockingham, Roanoke Valley Early College. We have two. We have one for academic growth award for, Roanoke Valley Early College. And then the other one is a certificate of achievement for Roanoke Valley Early College for the 100% graduation. I gave you 2 hands for 2.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Right. Next item on the agenda is Dr. Bill with curriculum and instruction.
All right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So our curriculum and instruction report for this month will consist more of the because they will be presenting their school improvement plan tonight. However, before they begin, I will say that in addition to their school improvement plan, we do have our district strategic plan that we have been working on to revise because it is a 5-year plan. So it is, I like to refer to it as a living, breathing document because you can go in at any time and make changes to meet the needs of the school district and the students. So I just wanted to make you all aware that the district strategic plan is more or less representative and inclusive of the same or similar goals that you will hear about tonight and the strategies as well that will come from the principal tonight in terms of what they're doing at their schools to ensure that their students show growth over the time. So the ultimate goal is always student achievement in Weldon City Schools. And I say by any means necessary, meaning provide all of our children with the necessary instructional strategies that they need in order to help them to be successful. So I say all of that to say We are doing some really good things. The principals are on the move at their schools, and they have some really good presentations to make for you tonight, so give them your undivided attention. Oh, this is the order that we will go. We will gladly begin with, I see, Dr. Robinson has that nice folder in front of him. If I'm not going to call on Dr. Robinson first, I am. And we're going to the high school, Mr. Hopkins, and then we will let Mrs. Tyler come up, and Ms. Lee, I'm sorry, but we're just going to let you go after, and that way you have all the space.
Best for last, is what you say. That's my way.
I was trying to. Yours might be.
All I have is the high school.
It worked for you, though, didn't it?
They didn't turn me down. You got your back. Can you give her? You got the elementary?
Yeah.
I apologize, but it should be. On today too. Seems like the kids get really much is when I have to present for board. And it's Thanksgiving is here and kids ready to go. So, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm going to not be before you long. I feel like I'm going back to the program where I'm a now, so we're gonna move forward. You do have this information in your board packet. So I'm not gonna go through every single thing because if you allow me to talk about Rhode Island early college, we'll be here today. So I'm just gonna hit the house. Of course, it's our school improvement plan, but I like to, I'm a data oriented person, curriculum instruction person, so I usually preference and reference data a lot in my presentation. So I wanted to go skip to, this page, where are we now? So right now, of course, we are at letter grade B, but after we hit the letter grade of B, it's not enough. So we're moving to try to get to that letter grade of A. We did have math one at the city of Grove, and unfortunately, those kids are gonna be my math 3 kids this year, and hopefully they will see growth in math grade. We're fully staffed, thank God, and we have a culture now, data-driven instruction. And we talk about data a lot. We talk about data-driven instruction, data-driven planning, because we look at student data to make sure that we grow our students. One thing that's unique on our campus this year also is, we have an ACT prep class. My new social studies teacher, he's been getting training for ACT prep, so he's actually teaching an ACT prep class, and he's looking at pre-ACT data that we are able to access now thanks to, Ms. Davis, and he's taking that ACT, the pre-ACT data for the students that he has in his class right now, which are juniors, and he's looking at that, and he's forming, and we're creating a curriculum for pre-ACT prep, ACT prep in our school right now. So right now, we got some favorable pre-ACT results. As of this week, I had 2 kids that scored 29. So if you know anything about pre-ACT test or ACT test, if a child in 10th grade scored 29, they're already projected to score 33. So I have 2 kids that are on that level. I have 1 that scored a 23. I have 1 that scored a 21. I did not have anybody that scored under 13. So we already have, he and I already looked at how those kids are gonna land next year and what classes, but they're gonna be in the ACT prep class in the fall. So I'm blessed to have him because he's thinking like I'm thinking, and he's data driven. Well, back about the work keys for a minute. We got the work keys results back, and I wanted us to hit 80, but we landed at 78.2, so we already started at 80. So, I talked to my seniors today, and I told, well, when the day they took the test, I said, you're the last.
we're not done, you're not done, we gotta get the school to an A, this is your time to do this, and they did it. I have one platinum, I had, can't remember, I had one platinum, 5 gold, 11 silver, something like that. Anyway, I had a lot of kids in court, I did really well. So we got 78.2%. We may test one student in the spring, retest her in one area, so we can get to 82. I'm just thinking about it. So we already seeing some things happening in the field, culturally and academically. So this is just where we are, where we landed last year, and everything that we do on our school improvement plan is based on data. And we see, as you can see, we met growth in English 2, and we see growth in Math 1. We have some work to do in Math 3, and some work to do in biology and ACT. That's why we had the ACT prep plan. And this is just our EVOS growth data. I like EVOS because it gives us a lot of information. We look at student projections so that we can determine how we're gonna address those students academically. So I'm trying not to show a lot of EVOS data, but I really like the data. Ms. Davis showed me something else in the ACT, on the ACT site, with more data, and I was in data all day long, just looking at numbers of how we can move kids. So talking about seniors right now, we have 31 seniors that are enrolled in RVEC. We have one 5th-year senior that is going to be a December graduate. And we do have 28 seniors currently enrolled in fall classes at HCC, so we're waiting to see how they're going to land as far as their grades are concerned. And I had, at least 10 kids get inducted into the Phi Theta Kappa last week. So they're really doing great things over at Target, or we are. Where are we going? We gotta increase the student academic growth. We want to see the A. We need to increase those ACT scores. We have the data, we have the tools to do it now. We want to continue to review the school improvement plan. That's a part of our culture now. It wasn't before, but it is now, because we know that the school improvement plan is going to drive how our school move. We want to increase the student graduates with an associate's degree. We had kids that graduated from Harvard that did not get an associate's degree. They got certificates, but we want to have more, we move towards 100% students graduate with an associate's degree. And my junior class right now, I have students that are maybe graduating next year with associates in science and in art. But I'm telling you, my sophomore class is going to be the class that's going to 100% graduate with an associate's degree. I'm predicting that. I feel it. The consistent communications to academic behavior expectations throughout the school and to the parents, increase parent engagement, all those things that's going to make the school go. You can go. So this is just some data that we look at. That's also driving our school. As you can see, we already, last year, there's some areas that we want to move. We already set the goals for this year. English 280, Math 170. We already hit with work keys, where we kind of hit. I predicted 80, we got to 78. Don't take that right now. But as you can see, this is what my teachers have. They have a data notebook. This is what they look at, and this is what they go by when we talk about data. Okay. So some strategies that we're looking at for English 2. We're just going to continue with the practices of study hour, but we did start with Exact Path and gave them some good information. They were excited about the diagnostic test, because the diagnostic test with Exact Path is adaptive. So they can really see the grade levels that the kids are testing, where they're landing, and they give them more data, they're putting in their notebook. Oh, my kid is landing at 2nd grade, what am I gonna do? I said, look at the strategies they have in place, and so we can move those kids, we have time. Same thing with Math 1. Math 3, same thing. They're also using any cares for pacing and instruction to support what they're doing, but they pretty much, like for instance, my Math 3 teacher who had City Grove in Math 3 last year, no, in Math 1 last year, she knows what the students need, so she's already set the pace based on what the standards are for the state. So she's really good at looking at the data and translating that data and making sure that she pushes her kids in that direction. Our area of weakness, however, is biology. We have a new teacher. I'm doing some heavy, intensive coaching, and I think it's more of, confidence right now. She knows the content, but the confidence to delivering it, I'm trying to get her to see that she knows it, and the kids know that she knows it, and that's gonna be the difference. She's doing a lot of different practices to get the kids ready, and also the science curriculum is different this year. She says it's really easier to teach, so we're gonna see, we have our first biology exam in December, and I have a lot of those kids who scored well in the math, one that's taking biology this year, because everything that we do is intentional, it's data driven. Of course, ACT, we're feeling confident about that based on what Mr. Oliver is seeing in his classroom and what he's able to teach. Hold on. So this is, I wanted to skip all those stuff because I already talked about it. So the goals that we're gonna focus on as far as school improvement this year, we're gonna focus on the school improvement tiered instructional system, which is in alignment with the MTSS that we're now working on and bringing into the district. So our actions for improvement teachers will include tiered instructional, activity. Although we are early college, high school, we still have students who are gonna need additional supports in different areas. Teachers will receive TSS training, which is happening now. We've created and implemented a sustainable student support system, and they'll use their student and teacher data notebooks to derive instruction. And then we're also gonna work on LEAs program. We look at performance data and aggregated class observational data. So I know I say data a lot, but that's what's gonna move the kids. Principal will meet with teachers. I mean, we call them O3s, which are one-on-ones. Each teacher will have a data notebook, which they keep up with their own student data and they keep up with their assessments and other data. We have data dive meetings by monthly to determine how the students are moving. Now we have a new, tool, which is that path. They got excited about it. So we're gonna have another data meeting as soon as we get Thanksgiving. That teachers will also discuss their reports with their students. And just some of the things about my school, we're fully staffed, and the growth mindset we use, and it just happened by itself, the PLC and circle meetings, for staff check-ins, and we have a school meeting team of this year. And parent town hall meetings, that's always where I'm at, virtual parent meetings and parent advisory committee, that's the thing I'm working on right now. Question?
I have a question, Dr. Bobson.
Mhm.
It was on one of the pages. What would make, students at the early college ineligible to take classes at Halifax Community College?
Okay.
That's on the slide, you had 2 students were ineligible.
Okay, so what we've been communicating with parents and with the students, that's a good question. And I don't think it was communicated with Fidelity before, is that they need to have a 2.0 GPA on Halifax Community College side and a 2.8 GPA on our side, unweighted. To be eligible to take a Halifax Community, take classes over at HCC.
Okay.
So we need to go.
If they don't have it, well, it looks like to me that the early college has turned, I mean, has made a positive turn, and it heads in the right direction, in which early colleges should be. But, what would happen in the case that they don't have that GPA? Do they still stay there, or are they sent to another school, sent to their home-based school?
So it depends. So we have, it's case by case right now.
Okay.
Because we know that we're inheriting some kids that have been there and been hanging out for a minute. It's just real. And so last year we had a wave because those kids have been sitting at RVET for 2 years taking a class at HEC because they were academically ineligible. So this year we're trying to get ahead of that by making sure that we're checking in with the student, making sure that the teachers check in with the student and having conversations with parents and letting the students know this is what your GPA is, what you need to do. So in cases like, for instance, my freshmen, they get an extra semester to get themselves together. But students that are juniors, we kind of have to look at if it's gonna be beneficial for them to stay at RVET and they're not gonna go able to be eligible in classes at HCC. That's when I have conversations with Mr. Hopkins or the homeschool, because most of the kids that we're looking at now, to be honest, are not coming from Weldon or not coming from Weldon City schools, they're coming from KIPP. So that's has been the issue. So when they get to the park, if they're ineligible, we start having conversations. We meet with the parents and we talk to them about early on, we talk to them about the expectations of them staying and remaining here at the school. Because it's really doing them a disservice for them to continue at RVET if they're not academically ready or eligible to take the courses. So our enrollment kind of dropped But as our enrollment is dropping, I do have people steadily applying when they get in. So we knew that it was gonna be a low and drop to go down, but we also know it's gonna come back up. Cause I always, I tell my teachers that we get to be in A school, we're gonna have more kids want to come. But we have to be able, we have to vet the kids to make sure that they're ready for that kind of environment.
Right.
So with that being said, it just depends, it's case by case, it just depends on the grade level. Like I said, we're working with the freshmen. Because it's new and they're getting acclimated, but juniors, we've been here for a minute, so what are we doing? Thank you. I think I did get this.
Any other questions?
Yes. So my first question, Dr. Robinson, is how are we utilizing, the information from Into Check-in?
Well, that's part of the data. No, yeah, they use that data to inform instruction, plan instruction. So they've already had a first round is to check in.
And the projections. Are teachers able to pull their own, or does admin have to pull it for them?
So they're not able to go in and put projections, but I go in and show them how to get it. And if I had a right to go to do it, I can pull it, but it depends on what verse the e-box. But
So do they have it, like,
they have it in their hands, they have it in their hands, they have it in a data file on the, in that Google Drive. We have a Google Drive just for data.
Okay.
And they have all the student projections, and I do play, I don't want to say play a game with it, but I said, this is what it states that the kids are gonna be. We said the kids are gonna be here. Okay. So we like to play games to the projections, especially with Miss Welch, that, the reason why her kids did so well, because she would try to overshoot with the kids, with the state that it will be, based on the, different subject areas that it was lacking or needed to cover in their class.
Are you using ingenuity at all?
Yeah, a little bit. We use the admin.
Okay.
Yeah, admin. Admin is great.
Okay. And so that is, okay.
Any other questions? Not, thank you so much, Dr. Robinson.
Thank you.
Right, the next.
Good evening. I won't be before you long. A little bit about our school improvement plan. I won't read it verbatim. You all may have it accurate. Anytime you do have a question, please feel free to stop it. We'll go to the very next slide. Okay, so basically at Williston High School, our mission strives to create a safe, productive learning environment for all learners. Our staff will strive to provide an effective instructional delivery practices through meaningful educational professional development to create student success and put the students first. Our values are very simple. We keep the main thing the main thing. Students first, safety of all, and success for all. If our students are successful, staff will be successful. I wish these numbers were a little bit bigger. I had a few columns, but this is looking at our performance data dating back to 2021.
You'll see the letter bottom of each column. But I want us to focus on the last three. So last year, these were our goals for 2023, 24 for the school year. So we had a goal as far as our English 2 of making 29% proficiency. We were at 23. That was our goal of 29, and we ended up hitting 28.1. With math 1, you look right here, this means less than 5% was proficient. 20, 22, 23, at 8.7, that was one student that passed level 3. 22, 23 students. That was Antoine White. He's a very sharp young man, very excited because he's in biology this semester. So we came back the next year, we set the goal, we just tried to double it. We set a SMART goal at 16%. We ended up hitting 29. Almost double that. So math 3, same situation. Our goal went from 11.5 to 16% efficiency. We ended up hitting 14.7. We were a little short. This year we're hoping to hit 15.3. Math rigor is probably one of the areas we saw our biggest jump. And I feel like that's something that we can control. When I got with it, this was being taught on online. So it was real important that we got an actual teacher, warm body in the classroom that could provide that instruction. So with math 3, we did end up hitting 14.7. It was two points off of what our goal was. Math rigor, going back to that. We had a goal of 90% efficiency. We actually hit 94.3. So next year we're hoping to hit at least 96%. Biology, like Dr. Robinson spoke, that's an area that we need to focus on. Science standards have changed this year. So knowing that the science standards have changed, I had asked my biology teacher if she could come in. I had her to work with some science coaches over in National Rocky Mountain Schools. So anytime they had a workshop, she was able to log on virtually and join the workshop so she could learn more about those standards changing. So we're hoping to have better results there. As far as our ACT, we're hoping to make some strides there. Definitely want to do better there. So we have a A+ test person will be coming in, working with our students 4 times this year. They've already come in 1 time this year. ACT work keys, we made a nice gain, a nice jump. It was 30%, that was our goal. We ended up hitting 38.7. Okay, and the graduation rate is something that we need to continuously work on. We have grown a little bit in that. So we got 73.5%, but I honestly feel if we can hit 80%. One of our biggest issues, and I've shared this with the board before, with our graduation rate, we have 30 students to start off in the freshman class. By the time we get seniors, it may be 22 students. If we can't track successfully where those 8 students went, Northwest Halifax, Southeast Halifax, if you can't successfully track where they went, that's gonna count as a drop. So anytime a student leaves, it's important that we count where they went. Just like Dr. Robinson, this is something I get very excited. Dr. Bolton, I haven't asked you for your permission. Dr. Shotwell, I'm asking now for your genes tomorrow.
That's fine.
So we're gonna celebrate.
You can't put me on the spot, but that's good, man.
We'll celebrate our students
Yeah.
tomorrow, and I plan on cooking out for them tomorrow. Yes.
So you waited till the day I'm not here. I see it. So Ms. Bird Robinson can eat my stuff, right?
Well, we definitely want to celebrate our scholars as well as our teachers for their hard work. So we will celebrate them tomorrow. We were supposed to do it last Friday, but the weather didn't allow us to. So we're gonna fight through the cold elements tomorrow and make it happen. So last year, not this past school year, but the following year, 22-23, we did meet growth. This year, we exceeded growth in all subjects. That I didn't put up here, and I realized I had left it off. I don't know how I realized it, because out of all the high schools I worked at, it's never happened. That's students with disabilities exceeding growth.
Yes, that's very true.
We we had one particular student who had like a high level 3, it was almost level 4. And she was in the exceptional children's program. That was in math. We had one that also passed in biology. So that really put us on. We want to continue with that momentum going into the following school year. We're hoping to continue to grow and continue to see growth. So we're trying to set a pattern of going, with this momentum going this school year. I won't spend much time on this. I just hit on some keys right here. This is priority goal number 1. Just making sure that I monitor curriculum and classroom instruction on a consistent basis and provide timely, clear, constructive feedback to my teachers. I try to do that by looking at their lesson plans, giving them weekly feedback on their lesson plans. These are some actions. This is in your folder, but these are some actions that will be making sure it takes place to continue and making sure that we achieve that priority goal number 1. This is priority goal number 2. Again, just being consistent, communicating with our parents and guardians about the expectations of them and the importance of the curriculum of the home. So we're trying to engage the home. We're trying to engage our parents. If they know what the goals are, then we really truly feel that they will buy in. I think I get it. My first year at Weldon and continue. I'll shoot some alumni an email or just reach out to them and ask them to give us a donation. If students pass the test, we give them money. If students pass the test, they make it 3, they get $50. If they make it 4, they get $75. If they make it 50. This is reaching out to alumni that have been very fortunate and blessed to give back. And it's made a difference because now students are working that much harder to get some money. We were testing this past spring in May, and during the car line, little girl got a car. Mom ran down the room and said, "You better get paid today." What we mean by getting the parents' money? So they're just as excited when test time. Yeah. As far as priority goal number 3, all teachers are attentive to the students' emotional state. We have a lot of students that's dealing with a lot of challenges. So we just want to make sure that we still keep the SEL, student emotional learning, we keep that at the forefront. If the student is not right and they're facing problems and challenges, it's going to make it that much difficult for them to learn. These are some additional areas of importance, improvement, attendance. We did establish a goal of 90%. We want our students in school at least 90% per semester. That ties into our graduation rate. More focused effort on students tracking their graduation, which I spoke of. If those students leave well, we need to find out where they are. We need to see if they enrolled in an online program, if they enrolled into another high school. Co-planning, allowing our teachers to try to co-plan with other teachers. Dr. Robinson, allowing our teachers to co-plan, science teachers, math teachers, and so forth. Professional development for our teachers around their content area. And just making sure that everybody understands all of our accountability measures, the math 1, the math 3, the English 2, the biology, making sure that everybody knows it's a big puzzle, but at the end, it can impact your school grade. Reducing discipline referrals, maximizing instructional time. So less referrals and the less discipline distractions, that's going to increase our opportunity to learn. Okay, how do we get there? These are some strategies and actions. Just being intentional. Having that intentional focus on small group instruction. NC check-in, benchmark data analysis. We got our NC check-in data. Sat down with our instructional coach. We had a list of students who we call bubble kids. Those kids can make a level 2 or they can make a level 3. So now she's pulling those students twice a week and she's working individually with them in those 4 areas. If they take English 2, she's working with them. If they take math 3, math 1, those are the students that she's putting her emphasis on. Effective usage of our learning management systems such as ExactPath and EdMinimum. They have a diagnostic system individualized to that student's need. If I take that test and I make it 8.5, that's where it's going to start me off. I may be in the 9th grade, I may be in the 10th grade, but it's going to start me off and let me build that skill set. More efficient and data-focused PLCs. This is something that we still want to improve on. This is something that you can never get too good at. There's always ways to improve as far as taking your PLCs. Ensure understanding of individualized student data. Don't just talk data among us as professionals and colleagues. We want our students to know what their data is, what the data is. So they can have that personal goal. We have a goal for them and we're both working towards that goal. Again, differentiated professional development opportunities, additional teacher support, and ongoing communication with our parents and all of us. And this pretty much concludes what our school improvement plan looks like. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Any questions?
So you answered my NC checking question. What about your, projections? So teachers,
Yes.
you pull it for them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We normally have that conversation. During our post conferences, during our observation, or if we have, like, if I have been a teacher that I try to meet with weekly, and they're teaching one of those 4 areas, we'll have that. So I meet with our PTs, at least I try to, at least once a week.
So the teachers have, like, I know that the data usually comes out a little later than the beginning of the school year, September. So do they have
Individual data.
for their students so they'll know where they need to get them to? And what do you need for tomorrow to make it a success? You can think about it until we leave. Now, make sure I take care.
I just want to say thank you. And that's a great idea that you're doing tomorrow to celebrate the student. I like that. Thank you for it.
Next up, we're going to be Weldon Middle. It's Tyler.
So, Madam Chancellor.
Yes, ma'am.
While Mrs. Tyler is getting set up, I would just like to say any questions regarding the data, what we are asking principals to do is use a data tracker at the schools, and the data tracker tracks all of the data. So they have to go in, the teachers have to put all of their data in so that they can look at the students on a consistent basis. So it's not just NC check-in, it's not just EVOS, it's all of the data. And we just had conversation this week about not just looking at that data on a monthly basis or a bi-weekly basis, but an everyday basis, honestly. Because the only way we can keep up with what our student needs are is when we are cognizant of what their data looks like. So they're all being asked to use a data tracker of their choosing. But at the district level, we are also tracking the data with a consistent data tracker. So that we can go in and look at those same students. That way, when Dr. Shotwell and I are having individual conversations with principals, we can reference specific students. Okay, how's Asia doing? She's mine, so I can call her name now. How's Asia doing and how are we moving Asia from point A to point Z? How is she going up or if she's sliding back? Then can you explain why and what are you doing in the interim to make sure that she begins to move forward? So.
Thanks.
Got it this time? Yes.
No problem.
I was going to just. Yeah, my thing was lit.
Good evening, everyone. I do apologize. I missed the birthday a little bit. I want to start out with, last year we were a D school. We've been a D school since 2022. We did make 1% growth, this year. And so, last school year, this year, we are really hoping to get to that C, school, and we put some things in place to try to get there, so. Well, our mission is we strive to create a safe, productive, and engaging environment for all learners. This year, we got together during one of our city meetings to determine what are the values and expectations that we have and we're holding each other accountable for. So I've highlighted those, there so that you can see staff agreed that they would be prepared, to meet our students each day. They will be dedicated and persevere to be their best selves, provide equal access to all learners, solution-oriented problem solvers, and opportunities for community partnerships. And we've been doing pretty good with our community partnerships, and I'll talk about those a little bit more as I go through my presentation. Our behavior goal, which is one of the goals for the SIT team, our SIT team is broken down. All the staff is participating, but we have like a chair for each of our 3 major areas. So the behavior goal is by June of 2025, the number of students with 20 or more days of suspension from the previous year will decrease by 50%. So what we did was use our educators handbook, identify who those students were. We tried to get ahead of the reasons that they were being suspended so that we could put some things in place with those students. We do meet with those students on Monday mornings mostly, to talk to them, try to get their week off to a good start. And I tell them every day, my door's open. If you need anything, please come see me. And they do, they check in all the time. So we're heading in the right direction with that. We still have some students who are getting those suspensions, but it's a lot better than what it was last year. And we also, using our teacher lesson plans to make sure that they're intentional, including movement in there for those students, because a lot of them lack the movement. They don't want to sit all day, and we don't want to sit all day. So when we check lesson plans, we're looking for those kind of things. They get shot out, and shot outs, when they get those, they usually get a treat with it as well. Pizza parties and things like that, that's what I'm used to, but I'm old school, but kids tell me now it's time, we don't want pizza parties, we want wing parties. So tomorrow, they would have their wing parties, all of the students, for the data and everything that we've collected so far for this year, and we tried to make it so every child would be able to participate in the wing party. Parent engagement goal, is to increase curricular information shared with the parents at least one time a week, by each teacher, as measured by the grade level content, newsletter, social media posts, family engagement nights. Each Friday, we do have a newsletter that, goes out. We have partnered with some of the businesses and they make donations to it. We always like to, include those, community partners in those things. We have parents come out, we have a parent engagement group. As they can, some of them were, but when we spoke with them, what type of things would you all like to see? And I guess by us having younger parents, me, I would have been like curricular stuff, but they wanted things like an art gallery, basketball games. These were some of the things that the parents said they remember. So we've been making those things happen. Dr. Shopwood has signed off on 2 parent engagement things for us this year, and they were successful. Once again, we're using our web page to Eastern just ask about our hits and things like that, just to see how we are faring. People seeing our posts. We use agendas and sign-in sheets for parent nights and any activity that we have. We try to track the parent engagement. And also we have our target students
those students have regular conferences. Oftentimes it's in my conference room because we have a phone in there where we can call and all the teachers can sit around and we can share what a child is performing in. Our academic goal is by June 2024, Wheeler Middle School increased proficiency rate from 41% to 55% and ethics by the EOG score. And I know that's a big jump and it almost seemed impossible, but my staff say, I said, how many kids do you all want to look at? Because EVOS says this, their, BOY, their this, and the teachers tell me all of them, we want to move all of them. So if they have that in them, we want to give a fair shot and make sure we're doing what we can. Once again, with these, all teachers are expected to submit lesson plans because we try to monitor the things that they're putting in there to ensure that the students are engaged. Teachers in the ELA and math utilize the curriculum for tier 1, 2, and 3. And one of the things that we're working on is making sure that our tier 1 is tight. Because if we fix tier 1, then tier 2 and tier 3, you're gonna see a big decrease in those, 2 tiers. Content PLCs, we're looking at coaching cycles, and, Ms. Friend helps a lot with that. Each week, she meets with our teachers during their planning period. Each day, we have it set up where the math teachers meet together, ELA and science. And during that time, they use their exit tickets to look for gaps. And they look at ways in which they can improve where those students are performing. All staff engage in database problem solving. There's daily, weekly, quarterly. And we try to adjust, well, we do adjust the instruction. Sometimes the kids give a little pushback, this is too hard, but we continue to raise that level of rigor because that's what's gonna get us where we need to be. Intervention team meets weekly, to problem solve students and respond to tier 1 and tier, well, not respond to tier 1 and tier 2. And we have 3, as I said, like a parent engagement, chair, we have an academic chair, and we have a behavior chair. So the chairs meet, with Mr. Pullen and myself, so we can take a look at our data. And some of the things that you go in our classes, you're gonna see, not every day, but most days, there is small group instruction. They do daily intervention for ELA and math, through Exact Path. Grade levels, watch list of students for each quarter who's struggling, and we've met with those parents, as well to let them know these are some of the things that we are seeing, and, trying to come up with a plan that the parent, the school, and the child can all work with. Even with our thing that we send home where the parent, students, the compact, we included in our compact that students would work on their, exact path and things like that. At least 10 minutes a night. And required 40 minutes a week, and we do check to see if they're actually doing the exact path. Teachers have a data notebook, benchmark data in there, has the EVOS predictions, just all of that. And that's how we were able to pull the students that we needed, and who we saw we could actually move if they received, consistent instruction. So our core teachers have had 8 hours of amplified, PD. They've also been trained in Exact Path, and which is our intervention and walkthroughs. My teachers go out in teams and we go to each other's room. Everybody's required to leave a positive note, as we exit their classroom, but we are intentional with our feedback. And this is just our, data. For 23, 24, if you look, it shows that we are in some areas like 6th grade, math, we had a dip. And just 7th grade, of course, you know, we went from 26.5 to 39.1. But if you're intentional in looking at the cohort, you'll see that they're increasing. 34, those 5th graders, they were at 34, then went to 39, and then 39.1. So if you follow the cohort, you'll see they are in the cohorts. However, it doesn't necessarily
equal out to what we would want, it to be overall. So this year, we're doing a little different to see, as I stated to you, we're looking at moving 50% of our kids. We have about 44 in 2 grade levels and 52 in another. But we're looking at moving those. We started after school tutoring, and certain students are there. Anybody can stay, but our target students are in those small groups, and we're using the resources from Exact to help close the gaps and keep them on the forefront. We're looking at math 93%, math 80, we can get 30%, and science 50%. Everywhere else, we're looking at getting 50% in each grade level. Are there any questions?
Yes. Back to the chart. So what you're saying is, for your goal is to move 50% of your students, not go from 15.9 to 15.
Right, 50% of our
So
students.
that's what more students you're talking about, at least 12%.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And the second question for the data, all the teachers have.
Thank you so much.
And what do you?
Next person, Ms. Lee, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Can you share it with me?
All right, then, good evening again. Thank you for your patience. I'm the newly appointed principal at Weldon Elementary Global Academy. It has been a great fun 4 weeks, here. So we're gonna go ahead and move into our, data. So what you will currently see is there is a trend that we have, especially in math, that we see some struggles there. Also, from 22 to 23, 24, there has been a consistent dip in the, proficiency, data that we have. It is my hope that the work that we are doing this year, I will be standing alongside my colleagues, and meeting or exceeding growth. So we are currently at an F school, performance score of 34, and we did not meet growth last year. So I'm really excited about the work that we're going to be doing. We're including parents, we're including community members, staff members, in an effort to make sure that we are growing the school. So our EVOS growth data, in all areas, we did not meet growth. But that's to say that we do have, again, a lot of work that we need to do at WEGA. So some of the strengths are students are eager to learn, which serves as a foundation for increased achievement. So what I see is when I do go into the classroom, students are actively learning. They want to learn, they want to be there. We just have to make sure that we're providing them, quality instruction, effective instruction, and a safe place to do that. Most students understand behavior expectations and follow classroom procedures, which minimize disruption. So we have a great group of students, and we also make sure that we are sharing those expectations with students, sharing those expectations with parents, and I'm also leaning on my colleagues and asking them questions, for them to send me certain documents. What does it look like in the district? What are you doing? And what are some ways that, we can also share some of those same experiences at Lowland Elementary. Teachers demonstrate care and concern for students, creating an atmosphere conducive to learning. So that is also something that I've seen, that teachers want to be there. Teachers also want to be able to feel seen and heard. So just listening to their concerns and acting on them immediately as well. Lowland Elementary has access to an abundance of instructional resources and human capital. We have a wealth of knowledge within the school. We also have a lot of instructional support. And so we're leaning on that and leveraging those people who are a lot more experienced in a certain area and putting them in spaces that we might need some support, like two of our vacancies that we have. We're leaning on their expertise to go into the classroom and provide some support. Areas of improvement: establish a monitoring system that includes walkthrough observations, targeted lesson plans, constructive conversations, and structured professional learning communities. So just making sure that teachers are provided with the walkthrough tool ahead of time. We talk through it. They know the expectations, and also making sure that we have that time in POCs to address any student concerns as far as data, looking at lesson plans, giving them feedback before the next week so they can make sure that they can make any changes necessary. Implement plans to develop and communicate processes, procedures that establish high expectations for students and staff, and fosters collaboration among all stakeholders. So some of the plans that we have put in place, we recently had a PTO meeting. It was the first one today. So we voted on members, and we did share that with the staff, well, the parents that showed up tonight to vote. So we do have that, and we're making sure that we are communicating with parents, communicating with the community when we push out information on our website or on our social medias. The goal is to go paperless, but we know that's not always possible, so we do try to provide other ways that parents will still get that information. Improve the quality of teaching and learning by intentionally preparing standards-aligned lessons that are rehearsed and strategically thought out prior to delivery. So this is something that we are currently working on and making sure that teachers are doing, is to plan ahead, to make sure that although the lessons sometimes are planned in the book, just to make sure that they are teaching themselves what they're about to bring to the students and it's not on the fly. Strengthen core instruction based on specific students' needs and training data. So we're getting our MTSS up and running and making sure that the teachers know what it looks like, providing a flow chart so they know if my students don't get it here, this is where I need to go, and creating that framework. So we are having those meetings, and that will be pushed out to our teachers to make sure that they are comfortable and well versed in what they should be doing as far as MTSS. Utilize gain from professional development. So staff are able to sign up for professional development in the areas that they need. We recently just had a couple of teachers who have went to a math conference, and they came back and they shared some of the great things that they were learning with their colleagues. Adhering to an established data analysis protocol, and this Dr. Boone has shared that with you guys. Priority goal number 1, students will increase overall proficiency from 20 to 35% as measured by the NCEOG by June 2025. So these are some of the indicators that we came up with as a SIT team. As as we go on further in the PowerPoint, I will share the ways that we get there. The next goal is Waverly students will increase the overall math proficiency from 16% to 25% as measured by the NCEOG by June 2025. And our last priority goal is by June 2025, we will increase our overall science proficiency from 64% to 70% using end of grade. And how will we get there? So there are tons of things that come with students when they come to school. Sometimes they come to school with social emotional issues, or they just maybe had a bad night. So some of the things that when you see those goals, you might have not seen behavior. All of these strategies on how we will get there would help increase those other priority goals that you see. So it's kind of like an umbrella effect. So how we'll get there is MTSS, making sure that we have supplemental and intensive intervention. So, it's in the developmental stage, but, it's ready to be pushed out to the teachers. Make tier 1 priority. So quality tier 1 instruction. If we hone in on those skills in the curriculum and making sure that teachers understand the curriculum and what parts they shouldn't use and should use, then they will be able to better serve students, and then that will limit or decrease some of the supplemental and intensive intervention that we have to provide to students. High yield instructional strategies. So making sure that teachers have those tools in their toolbox to use. So those high yield instructional strategies might look like cooperative learning, because students need to be doing most of the talking in their classrooms. It could be look like number heads. It could be small group instruction, higher order thinking skills, graphic organizers. There are tons of high yield strategies, but some of the most high yield ones is that cooperative learning. It brings a great, effect size on student achievement. And then also making sure that the teachers understand the high yield strategies, the effect that these strategies have, and the effect size of some of the negative things, like student anxiety. That has a negative effect, but it has a negative effect size. So letting them understand those size of those effects will also help them understand that what they do and how the students come in also affects how they learn. SEL collaborated with student support staff. So although our counselor is new, she has been put to work already. She has sent out a spreadsheet to our teachers and getting them to put in a group of students who might need some support, might need someone to talk to, or might need some deeper rooted issue support as well. And also another thing that she does is she's going to be going around to the classroom, providing supports, and also pulling small groups, and also making sure that she pulls information from the team as well to make sure that she's understanding how she can better support the staff at data, ensuring that we have a data team that will also be our MTSS team, and making sure that we're meeting and we're talking about our the data that we receive from Amplify, from NC check-ins, from Exact Path, and making sure that we triangulate that data and making sure that it all aligns. Because sometimes a student may be achieving in Amplify, but not in the Exact Path. So making sure that we triangulate that data and have multiple means of information that we're receiving on kids. PLCs, they are weekly, and then also teachers meet on Tuesday. They talk about different issues, and they bring those to the leadership team, and we discuss and see how we need to revamp, revise, or make some changes. Our MTSS team, again, that's in the developmental stage. We're pushing that information out to teachers soon, and what we are going to require them to do is to tier all of our students, because it supports all students, not just the supplemental ones, and we just want to make sure that when we do tier them, they have the support they need for each stage. Build teacher capacity. This is when we're feet to the ground, we're in the classrooms, we're making sure that we're supporting teachers in all areas. We observe and we give feedback, we go back, check in to see how we revamp or what other supports may be needed when we check in the first time and follow up. PBIS, We are getting that, started. We just created that committee along with some other committees, push information out to parents, and we're receiving some donations from them as well. And just making sure that we are looking at the whole child, PBIS, academics, SPL, and goals, just making sure that we're constantly meeting on our school improvement plan and making adjustments as needed. And just making sure that we're looking at our performance goals and things of that nature. Current vacancies, our elementary teacher, 5th grade, 2nd grade, and our EC teacher. Staff supports, providing letters, PD, we have an instructional coach, NCDPI coach, a literacy coach. They go to different conferences, PLC meetings, feedback, and, we have Ms. Robinson there to support us. Student supports, tutors, a literacy coach, in class. She pushes into the classrooms and pull out students based on the in-class data. So there's small groups. We have 3 tutors at the moment who come in and push in, also for small groups. We have 3 additional tutors that will be coming in to support as well in different areas. The master schedule is provided to have intervention in small group plans. MTSS, PBIS, and our counselors will be supporting our students. In addition to our PTO and parent involvement on our fit team. That concludes my presentation. Did anyone have any?
Yes.
Okay.
So have you started, after school for a student?
No, we did talk about that in the SIT meeting, and I brought it up, again, I forgot to who, but no, we have not started after school.
When do we plan to implement that?
That's a great question. Once I bring it to the school improvement team again to discuss it, then I can give you a better answer.
And our teachers have, I know you talked about the data. Do they have access to their EVAs, and has that been pulled for them? And also, do they have the beginning of year, and how are they using their,
Currently, the teachers have not used their benchmark data, to be being transparent. But moving forward, that is the goal. It has not been discussed inside of a deal, but whether they are using it individually, that part I'm not sure about.
Any other questions? Well, I would like to say that, and I should have, well, I want to tell all 4 principals. I would like for you all to create a wish list with 5 things that would help to improve your school. That you would, that we could do as a district and give to you all. And submit it to Dr. Shotwell. And for us to review.
You see that?
For us to review as a board to see how we can
Absolutely.
help support you all in making this happen for next year. So all our schools will be, out of the non-performing, status and also exceeding growth. Okay? And, I'm gonna say to have that submitted to him no later than next Tuesday. 5 things. Thank you so much.
Could they have a little bit of time eating some turkey and thinking about it?
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, do that.
I think they do that.
Let's do that. But I would like to have it before our next meeting so that we, well, because we're not having retreat. Now we can help support you all more than we are now. Okay? So by December 2nd. All right, next item on the agenda is going to be Mr. And thank you all for presenting.
So I do believe, Ms. Bullock, are you still here?
I am. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hold on, Ms. Bullock, please let me take the liberty to address a couple of things.
Okay.
Thank you. And, I would just like to say, Ms. Lee is brand new. She's 4 weeks in. I really would ask that the board extend her some grace in understanding that she is just getting to the school. She is just trying to get a handle on what's going on. So, I'm sure that maybe she is not aware of exactly everything that is going on in the school. Maybe her teachers are not doing X, Y, Z right now, but she is coming in trying to clean up what was a bad situation.
Exactly.
So we have to extend her some grace and understand that she's trying to get her feet planted solid on the ground so that she can move forward. In terms of after school, what Ms. Lee and I have discussed is it may be a good idea to hold off for a few minutes, because right now she does not have a pool of teachers to pull from just yet to handle the after-school tutoring. Because we're talking about the very same teachers that are yielding -5s and negative scores in their classes right now. So we would not do our children a justice. We would do them an injustice. If we take that same staff of teachers and put those in an after-school tutoring. Essentially, what we're doing is paying them. So I just don't, and I'm just trying to stay quiet, but I cannot. Because I just want to understand the situation that she's in. And you may not see everything positive when you go to the school. There may be some things that still look out of disarray to you. But please, let's try to support her. And go into the school, board members, when you can. And when you see something wrong, grab it and tell them. That's all. But I just.
And when you see something wonderful, grab her and tell her.
I guarantee you, if you just give her a little bit of time, I guarantee you, and I don't normally guarantee stuff, but I guarantee you, you'll see some results if you just give her a little bit of time. Just let her get straight. That is all.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Bullock, the floor is yours.
Good evening, board members,
Good evening.
Dr. Shotwell, Dr. Boone, and to all that are in the room. Come before you to bring you the Exceptional Children's updates. You do not have a PowerPoint or handout this month because this month, as you know, we are preparing for our December 1 head count. So that has been our biggest push right now to make sure that we are able to account for all of our students that we have identified in special education department. But I do have some numbers for you. We currently have 97 students, which includes 5 referrals, 4 from the elementary school and 1 from the middle school. Pre-K has 31 students, and we are happy to report that there were 2 students on the waiting list that we are waiting on their parents to accept the spot in the pre-K class. So as soon as we hear back from them, each class will get a student. Last month, I was asked to bring a breakdown of the district's disability categories and the number of kids that we have had in each category. And I am prepared to give that to you tonight. We have 8 children identified with autism spectrum disorder, 8 children identified developmentally delayed, 2 children identified emotional disability, 2 children identified hearing impaired. We have 1 child that is identified, he has multiple disabilities. We have 18 students identified intellectual disability on the mild level. We have 7 identified intellectual disability on the moderate level. And we have 1 student identified intellectually disability severe. We have 22 students identified learning disability. We have 11 students identified other health impaired, and 12 students identified speech impaired. Again, I want to say that our team is working very hard to ensure that we have an accurate count information for our head count, which is due on December 1st. The week of December 1st will also be the first week that we are able to file that Medicaid billing. Dr. Shotwell and I actually received an email today that says that Weldon City Schools is up and loaded and they are ready to receive anything that we have to file, and we will be filing the first week in December. Our providers have already provided their logs. They're putting them in the right place, and Ms. Turner is ready to file that information for us. Do you have any questions?
I do, Ms. Bullock. If you could back up and let me know, what was the number for moderate for the intellectual disabled?
7.
Okay, that's the only one I missed. Okay.
Ms. Bullock, you said that we have a total of 97 students. How many of those 97 are complete, ready to go, and prepared to be filed on our December first head count?
We are still working on that number. We have meetings scheduled next week. I can give you those exact numbers at our December meeting.
Do you have a roundabout figure? If we had to file today, do you have a roundabout number of how many?
We had to file right this second. Today, we were at 81.
Okay, so are we gonna be up to 97 next week? Because I know you said you were going through some folders and reading, but we still have some meetings to be held. So are we gonna
97, okay, 97 includes 5 that are referrals. So actually, you're looking at a number of 92.
Okay,
Okay,
Yes, Harold plan next week.
so are we looking at being able to file those 11?
that is the plan.
It carries us through the first week in December too.
Yes. But at the
Because it's in-
December meeting, I can bring you the exact number that for our head count that we were able to file.
By the time we have our meeting, we'll get the certification back from the EC department on the exact number, since we're having it on the 17th.
Okay. Any other questions? Not, thank you so much, Ms. Bullock. Have a great night.
Thank you.
All right. Next person on the item on the agenda for, first of all, we need to go back and approve the district, school improvement plans. Did not do that. Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, been motion by Ms. Tony Bird Robinson, second by Ms. Donna Harrison to approve the school district's, improvement plan. Are there any questions?
Just for clarity, is this approval of the school improvement plans and the district plan?
Not the district.
Not the district, just.
Same. Do
We
we
can't
have,
do it district, do we?
we do,
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna bring that back to you.
Okay,
so we
just
did,
school improvement plan.
Mhm.
so this one needs to be on the agenda for the 4th, the 2nd, or are we doing it in?
That'll be
December?
later in December.
Okay. All right, so are any questions? Now, can I get your usual vote sign?
Aye.
Any? And Tiffany, any, okay. So the school improvement plans have been approved. Thank you so much. Next item on the agenda is Mr. Devon Hunter with operations updates. And just for clarity, before you start, Mr. Dr. Shopper, you said that the district approval plan will be in December or later?
It could be, we're going through the process right now.
Okay.
We're working that with
Just let me
the
know.
internal stakeholders. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
No problem. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I will not be before you long. Information this evening. So, just want to give some quick updates. Some things that's been going on in operation. As we all know, we aware, the new children. Last week, the children time out of the move back. Spoke with Brian. So we are on schedule for the children to come off production line 13. As soon as they get it, they will be coming to the office space expansion at the central office. We got a bit more encouraging news with the
with that project, the, town of Weldon, that still does not have a full-time inspector. So, but they do have the plans that the engineer came in and drawn up. So we're waiting for the approval from the town of Weldon to go ahead and allow us to go ahead and continue with that project. So hopefully that'll be, here pretty soon. And speaking with the contractor, calling, basis trying to go ahead and see if we can get that pushed along. Or whatever they need to do to get a inspector to look at those plans and approve them so we can continue. It's the new school project. We had a OAC meeting yesterday, and we talked about the groundbreaking and the demolition ceremony, which we already heard earlier that will be on Tuesday, 26th. At 11 o'clock, from 11 to 1.
It's one.
I'm sorry. Yeah, from 11 to 1. It's from 1 to 2:30. Correct. So that'd be from 1 to 2:30. We talked about the people that want to fight to come out and what a groundbreaker. House representatives, state senators, town commissioners, county commissioners, board members as well, district colleagues, and community, of course, to come out and help us to celebrate this occasion. It's gonna be at the gym, or in the gym area, depending upon the weather. Look at the weather, it's supposed to be good. So we're looking to, some events are gonna happen at the football field. What happened in front of the building, so, as long as we have good weather, trying to do everything else.
Yeah, if it's good weather, it's gonna be right there when you pull into the parking lot from, Sneed Road. You go all the way to the end where like the principal and the handicap parking used to be. That's where the event's gonna be there, and then we're gonna have a set of bleachers and chairs and things set up around there, and then there's gonna be an excavator waiting on the other side of the building after we do the dedication. Then we'll do the ceremonial demo. But if y'all are expecting a gigantic ball on a crane, that ain't happening. That's not how they're gonna take it down, so.
There will be some, we have some shovels, so they have been participating in that. That's part of the event, having some scooping of the ground, as well as just the wood shop, where this, say it will not be a big gigantic ball, or not. The whole side of the walls, but there will be some demolition going on.
That's right.
And so, we also had a meeting with, the Blankenship, which is the company that we're getting the, furniture for the new school building. We met with them on the 30th. We had a real nice meeting with the team. And we got an opportunity to look at the different types of desks, that we use, different types of chairs for the kids. And I mean, we got to experience and sit in it. This new material stuff is for the classroom, being mobile, being an active class. You can take a desk and a chair, sit in the chair, is very lightweight, sit on top of the desk, move, you just recreate your classroom however you want to without the old school chair and the desk all hooked together. Being very heavy, it's nothing like that. So I think you'll be very, very, very happy with the type of furniture that they presented to us, for the students to be able to really be engaged with their new learning. We look at some utilities, making sure that we talk to Dominion Energy as well as Piedmont Gas, having those utilities being disconnected So, a lot of that's happening this week, going into next week. As well as they've already started the site work. They started that yesterday, so doing some soil erosion, construction fencing, as well as the electrician being on site, making sure that things are being disconnected, and the electrician making sure that he's having the running the main lines where they need to be. So it's a lot of activities that's going on, a lot of big changes are going on at that particular site when you ride by. It may look like this, next day, it's gonna look entirely different. Also, on the 4th is when we have our next OAC committee meeting, that will be a virtual meeting. And on the 18th will be our next in-person meeting. I didn't mention that meeting was an in-person meeting yesterday. So that's what they're starting to do now. We have a virtual meeting, so every other week we have a meeting, one to be virtual, one to be in-person.
December 18th is in person,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
and you said November what?
December 4th to be on.
December 4th, I'm sorry.
You guys are getting the invitations, right?
I got a whole lot of them at one time.
Yeah, that's it.
But I don't know if the links up there or not,
It is.
the link is up there for.
And even if you can't come to the in-person, there's still people
still do the
that
link.
are joining
Okay.
virtually.
That's all I have today. Any questions?
No, sir. Thank you so much. Any questions from anyone? Okay, next, thank you so much, Mr. Hunter.
You're welcome.
The next item on the agenda is supposed to be,
Transportation busing. You need to say it again.
I mean, it was on their request to ask us questions.
and then, yeah.
And here comes the budget. How are you with that? You just utilize it?
Yes, ma'am. We'll be you. We'll put down.
Yeah. Any other questions? If not, the next item is going to be, discussion from anyone, board members? Not, the next item on the agenda is going to be consent agenda. Take action, we've already done action for the MOU for Halifax Community College. The other one was EC contract, but it's been requested to put that off until our December 2nd meeting. So the next, to give time for review of the contracts.
So, procedurally, I mean, it is on the agenda, so if that's the desire of the board. There should be a motion to,
Okay,
So,
is there a second? Okay, we're going to postpone the EC contracts until our December 2nd meeting. Oh, yeah. The motion by Ms. Burr Robinson and seconded by Ms. Harrison to postpone the EC contracts and approve them at our December 2nd meeting. Are there any questions from anyone? If not, can I get, the usual voting sign of aye? And aye for me. Any opposed? No. So the EC contracts will be postponed until our December 2nd meeting. Next item on the agenda is going to be, action from closed session. Can I get a motion to approve the item from closed session?
Make a motion to approve the items in closed session.
just need to second it. I moved it.
Just say that Mr. Robinson made the motion. Who you going to?
Okay, it, was motioned by Ms. Bird Robinson and seconded by Ms. Edith Jenkins, to approve the items from closed session. Are there any questions from anyone? If not, can I get your usual voting sign? And aye for me, none opposed, so ayes have it, and the items from closed session have been approved. Any comments from anyone from the board?
Yes, Ms. Hill, I would just like to tell the staff and student and community, we are coming upon the holiday, and I would just like for everyone to have a happy Thanksgiving. Love on your family, be with your family, be safe, and just think God for all the goodness that he has done for you and your family.
Amen. Anyone else?
I would
Yes.
just like to say, I would like to thank Ms. Boone and all of our principals for doing a great job tonight. I want to thank them. I think we should give them a round.
Ms. Bird Robinson?
I would like to say thank you to our entire Weldon community. Even if you don't live in Weldon and you're in this room, you're still a part of our community and our family. I appreciate each and every one of you because it takes us all. One person cannot do it by ourselves. So it takes us all to make sure that our students and our staff have exactly what they need. We have to support them. As Dr. Boone said, if they're doing something, well, Dr. Sharples said, if they're doing something great, we need to let them know. If there are some struggles, that needs to be communicated as well, because sometimes we see things that the person who's actually doing the thing, they don't really see it, and vice versa. If it's something that the board needs to know, please let us know, because we're all human. We're all here to work hard for our students and make sure that we're doing what's in the best interest of our students. I'm a proud product of Weldon City Schools, and I want Weldon to continue to flourish. So let's all do the right thing and support our team, and our team meaning all of us. Also to echo what Ms. Harrison said and Ms. Jenkins, it is the holiday. Let's make sure that we keep all of our families in your thoughts. And if you believe in prayer, do that as well. But let's make sure that we are doing what we need to do to support our students and our staff in Weldon City Schools. Thank you.
Okay. All right, if all hearts and minds are clear, I would like to ditto everything that my fellow board members have said tonight. I thank you all for coming out tonight. And wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Have a great night. Oh, can I get a motion to adjourn? Okay, it's been motioned by Ms. Jenkins and seconded by Ms. Donna Harrison to adjourn. Any questions? If not, can I get your usual voting sign of aye? And ayes have it. And we are now officially